The most powerful surveillance system in human history knows exactly when you'll stop watching this video. It's designed to map the architecture of your mind, predict your next purchase, and determine which information you'll see, and which you'll never know existed. But the strangest part? You signed up for this, voluntarily, and the man who warned you about it is considered a criminal, while the one, profiting from it, walks free among the powerful. Welcome to the most consequential battle of our digital age. Zuckerberg versus Snowden, where one man built an empire by harvesting your data, and another sacrificed everything by telling you about it. We've been sold a comforting lie, that we can have both, unlimited digital convenience and meaningful privacy. That Mark Zuckerberg's move fast and break things philosophy somehow coexists with Edward Snowden's fight for digital autonomy. Today we're tearing down that illusion and facing something far more uncomfortable. The reality that in this game we're not the customers, we're not even the product, we're the raw material. Consider this. Every time Facebook censors content without consequence, democracy suffers a silent heart attack. Meanwhile, Snowden revealed unconstitutional mass surveillance and became an exile. Julian Assange exposed war crimes using the public's own tax dollars and has been systematically destroyed for it. And where exactly are those politicians you fund with your hard-earned money when these fundamental rights are under assault, standing beside the tech giants, collecting campaign donations? The irony would be almost beautiful if it weren't so destructive. We've created a world where the whistleblower hides, while the data harvester testifies before Congress with nothing but a booster seat and rehearsed apologies. Let's be brutally honest about what's happening here. Facebook didn't accidentally build a psychology-manipulating surveillance apparatus. That was the business model from day one. When Zuckerberg called his first users dumb fucks for trusting him with their data, he wasn't making a youthful mistake. He was revealing a core truth about how he views the relationship between his platforms and the humans who populate them. The platform, that began as a way to rate women's attractiveness in a Harvard dorm, has evolved into something far more sinister. A global behavior modification system, disguised as a place to share baby photos and political rants. Facebook doesn't connect people because Zuckerberg had a beautiful vision of human unity. It connects people because isolated humans are harder to profile, predict, and monetize. But here's where it gets truly perverse. When Snowden showed us the NSA's surveillance machine, built with the willing help of companies like Facebook, he wasn't telling us something Zuckerberg didn't know. He was telling us something Zuckerberg had actively helped construct, while selling us a completely different story about privacy and connection. Have you ever wondered why Facebook's privacy settings are labyrinthine, while its data collection is frictionless? Why terms of service read like they were designed specifically to be ignored? That's not incompetence, it's strategy. The same strategic thinking that leads to congressional hearings where Zuckerberg answers simple questions with, "I'll have my team get back to you on that," while collecting your biometric data and selling access to your attention. You might be thinking, but I have nothing to hide. And that's precisely the logic that has allowed this system to metastasize. Privacy isn't about hiding bad things. Privacy is the foundation of autonomy, the ability to make decisions without manipulation, to have thoughts that aren't immediately turned into targeting data. When Snowden says, arguing that you don't care about privacy because you have nothing to hide is like saying, you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say, he's not being clever. He's identifying the foundational mistake that delivered us into digital feudalism. The question isn't whether you've done something wrong. The question is whether you want to live in a world where your every action, preference, and relationship is data mined to predict and modify your behavior, while the companies doing it face essentially no consequences for abuse. Let me paint you a picture that might feel uncomfortably familiar. You've just had a deeply personal conversation with a friend, maybe about a health concern, a relationship problem, or financial troubles. Hours later, you're scrolling and see an ad that seems to know exactly what you just discussed. Facebook says it's not listening through your microphone. Maybe they're right. Maybe they've just built something even more invasive. A system so good at predicting your thoughts that it doesn't need to hear your words. Is that the world you signed up for? Here's a particularly British metaphor for what's happened. Imagine if the Royal Mail opened every letter you sent, analyzed the contents, sold information about your correspondence to advertisers, occasionally decided some letters shouldn't be delivered based on opaque rules, and then had the audacity to call itself the defender of communication when questioned about these practices. That's Facebook's business model, distilled to its essence. What makes this situation particularly absurd is that Zuckerberg himself uses tape to cover his laptop camera and microphone. The man who built the world's largest surveillance platform apparently understands the value of privacy for himself. But let's step back from Zuckerberg for a moment. This isn't just about one man or one company. It's about a system that rewards digital surveillance while punishing transparency. When Snowden revealed that the NSA was collecting the phone records of millions of Americans without warrants, he wasn't attacking America. He was defending its founding principles against those who had abandoned them. Consider this disorienting fact. The Fourth Amendment prohibits unreasonable searches without probable cause. Yet, somehow, we've normalized the most comprehensive search in human history. One that never ends, follows you everywhere, and isn't limited by what you do in public, but includes your most intimate thoughts, fears, and desires. If James Madison encountered today's surveillance capitalism, he'd recognize it immediately as precisely the kind of tyranny the Constitution was designed to prevent. The founders fought a revolution, in part because British authorities used general warrants to search colonists without specific suspicion. Today's digital surveillance makes those general warrants look quaint by comparison. So here we are, caught between Zuckerberg's vision of connectivity as surveillance and Snowden's vision of technology as liberation. Between a world where our data is weaponized against us and one where our digital tools actually serve our interests. Between leaders who use our tax money to protect corporations instead of citizens, and those rare individuals who risk everything to tell us the truth. The most powerful insight here isn't about technology, it's about power itself. Those who have it rarely surrender it voluntarily. Facebook didn't evolve toward greater privacy and user control because those changes conflict with its core business model. Our elected officials didn't meaningfully regulate surveillance because it serves their interests to have access to those same tools. This leaves us with an uncomfortable truth. The digital freedom we thought we had was an illusion. Real freedom requires both transparency and privacy. Transparency from institutions of power, and privacy for individuals. Snowden understood this. Zuckerberg built an empire exploiting its opposite. So, what can you actually do about this? First, recognize that this isn't just a technology problem, it's a power problem. Small changes to your privacy settings won't fix a fundamentally broken system. Real change, honestly, requires collective action and demanding better from both companies and governments. Second, adopt a new mindset about your data. It's not just information, it's the raw material of your autonomy, which can be weaponized against you anytime. Protect it accordingly. Use privacy tools not because you're doing something wrong, but because your thoughts and associations belong to you, not corporations. Most importantly, question the bargain you've been offered. The convenience of social platforms comes with a price, far higher than we've been led to believe. Is the ability to see your cousin's vacation photos really worth participating in the largest behavior modification system ever created? Is the ease of digital connection worth empowering companies that time and again choose profit over democracy? When a platform censors speech without consequence, while those who expose government overreach face exile or imprisonment, we're not living in a functioning democracy. We're living in a surveillance state, with good marketing. The next time you hear Mark Zuckerberg talk about connecting people or building community, just remember that his business model depends on monitoring those connections to sell targeted advertising. And the next time someone dismisses Edward Snowden as a traitor, ask yourself who has really betrayed whom in this story. In the end, this isn't about choosing sides between two individuals. It's about choosing what kind of digital future we want to create. One built on surveillance, manipulation, and centralized control. Or one founded on transparency, autonomy, and human dignity. The algorithm will soon suggest another video for you to watch, but before it does, ask yourself, who is really protecting your freedom in the digital age? The man who built walls around your data while calling it connection, or the man who sacrificed everything to tell you what was happening behind those walls? If this video woke something up in you, if you're feeling that rare mixture of clarity and discomfort that comes with seeing through a comfortable illusion, subscribe now. Not as a favor to me, but because this conversation about who controls our digital future is just beginning, and we have much more to uncover together. The most radical act in the age of surveillance capitalism isn't escaping the algorithm. It's understanding how it shapes you and choosing a different path forward.